Voyage Through Dying Suns. The last route. The star called Arius Prime had just collapsed into a black ghost. Captain Eryn Kael stood on the bridge of the starship Omen, staring out at the empty patch of space where light had existed just minutes ago. The collapse wasn't supposed to happen for another month according to the last Helios chart, but it had gone dark today. She turned to her navigator. Plot a new jump route. We can't pass through a collapsed system. Lieutenant Moore's fingers flew over the console. We'll need to detour through Virex Gamma. It'll add 4 days. Eryn sighed. 4 days they didn't have. The mission was already behind schedule, and none of them knew what they were really carrying. Just a sealed containment core, locked in the ship's vault, emitting strange low-frequency hums every few hours. Eryn stepped into the crew briefing room. The team was already waiting. 7 faces, a mix of military and science crew, all handpicked, all sworn to secrecy. She stood straight. We've lost another star. Arius Prime. A low murmur swept the room. That's 6 this cycle, said Engineer Work. They're collapsing faster. We knew the risks when we signed up, said Kael. We have our route. We make it through the Helios expanse. We deliver the cargo, and we get answers. Dr. Lyra Voss, the ship's astrophysicist, crossed her arms. Except we don't even know what we're carrying. That's a problem. Captain, you weren't selected to ask questions, Kael said flatly. You were selected to keep this ship alive through dying stars. Voss hesitated. It's reacting to the stars. I've been monitoring its energy patterns. When a star collapses, the pulse changes. Kael paused, her voice softer now. And what does that mean? I don't know, but it's like the device is feeding on the collapse, or grieving. No one spoke. Then the room shook. Alarms flashed red. Moore's voice echoed from the bridge. Captain, something's interfering with our solar shields. Kael ran to the bridge. On the screen, solar particles from the nearby star, Virex Theta, were lashing toward them, like an invisible storm. Shields up full spread, Kael barked. As the shields engaged, the star outside flickered, just for a moment, like a heartbeat skipping. Kael felt it in her chest. And then the voice came. Not from the ship's comms, not from any language she knew, but in her mind. You are not the first. You will not be the last. Kael froze. What was that? She whispered. The crew looked at her, puzzled. You didn't hear it. Moira shook her head. Hear what? Kael turned to the console. Record all incoming radiation. Cross-check for hidden signals. Within moments, Voss had the data. It's embedded in the solar radiation, she said, staring at the screen. A layered signal. Some kind of directed message. It wasn't natural. Kael's voice was quiet. It was meant for us. Voss looked up. Who sent it? The device in the vault pulsed. Everyone turned. Captain, Work said. Containment core just surged in output. Show me. They raced down to the lower deck, where the containment vault stood like a sealed tomb. The lights around it flickered. Kael stepped close to the window. The object inside looked like a sphere of dark glass, floating above a base of magnetic coils. Inside the sphere, stars swirled. Real stars. Whole galaxies in miniature. And then, it pulsed. Just once. A shockwave of light burst from the device and raced through the ship. Systems flickered. Voss fell to her knees, clutching her head. On the bridge, Moira shouted into the comms. Captain, Virex Theta it just flared. The star, it reignited. Kael stared at the device. The star had been dying. But now it was burning bright. As if time had been reversed. As if the star had remembered what it was. What the hell is this thing? Work whispered. Voss stood slowly, blood trickling from her nose. Captain, if this device can restart a dying star, then it can save the galaxy. Kael said. Voss met her eyes. Or destroy it, if it chooses wrong. Kael looked back through the vault window, her face reflected against the swirling light. And deep within the device, one of the stars blinked. Once. Twice. Like it was watching her. Captain Eryn Kael stood alone in the containment room, her hand resting on the console. The device, no, cargo, was no longer just a mystery. It had done something impossible. It reignited a dying star. Now she needed answers. With a deep breath, Eryn keyed in the override code. The containment locks clicked. The vault door hissed open. Inside, the strange sphere floated silently. Its surface shimmered like liquid obsidian, and deep within, lights blinked like distant galaxies. But this time, Eryn saw more. Thin, pulsing veins ran across its surface, organic tissue, fused with the material. The sphere was alive. She stepped closer. It wasn't just a machine. It felt like it was watching her. Her heart pounded. She reached out slowly, then stopped. Not yet. Not until she knew. She turned away, and the memory hit her like a wave. Years ago, a cold medical room. She sat alone, cradling a small child wrapped in a white blanket. The baby's eyes had been closed. A nurse waited by the door. "He'll be safe," the doctor had said. "He's special. His DNA can help us understand deep matter interaction. A chance to save millions." Eryn hadn't answered. She had only kissed the baby's forehead. Then she handed him over. No name, no records, just silence. The funding vanished. The experiment was classified. She never saw her child again. Eryn blinked, dragged back to the present by a soft hum. The sphere pulsed again. And she felt it, something familiar. Not in her head, in her blood. Alarms blared through the ship. "Captain Kael, to the bridge." Mora's voice screamed through the comms. Eryn ran. When she reached the bridge, the view screen showed two massive stars locked in orbit, a binary system. But something was wrong. "Why are we here?" she shouted. Mora's hands moved fast. "We were pulled out of jump, gravitational interference. The stars are collapsing into a shared singularity." Eryn's eyes widened. "They're becoming a black hole." Voss stared at the readings. "We're trapped in the gravity well. We have maybe 30 minutes before the pull becomes irreversible." "Options?" Eryn asked. Rourke shook his head. "We'd need a jump vector outside the compression zone, but it's moving too fast. Our engines can't keep up." Outside, the stars began to twist, their light bending unnaturally. The pull was growing. "We need the cargo," Voss said suddenly. Eryn turned to her. "What? If it restarted a star, maybe it can push us out. Or shield us. We have to try something." Eryn hesitated. "Fine," she said. "Everyone to the lower deck." Now. They reached the containment room together. Rourke carried a scanning tool. Voss held a sensor pad, already reading bursts of activity. The sphere was pulsing faster now, as if it sensed the danger. "We should interface with it," Voss said. "Establish contact." "No," Eryn said. "It's alive. We don't touch it unless we have to." But someone already was. Crewman Jace, young, reckless, stepped forward. His eyes were locked on the sphere, his body stiff. "Jace," Eryn called. "Step back." He didn't move. "Jace." He reached out. His fingers brushed the sphere. The room flashed white. Everyone was thrown back. Voss screamed. The lights dimmed, flickered, then steadied. Jace stood frozen, his hand still on the sphere. Then he collapsed. Eryn rushed to him, grabbing his shoulders. His eyes were wide open, but they didn't see her. He was convulsing, his body twitching, like lightning ran through his mind. "Hold him," Eryn shouted. Voss scanned him. His neural activity is spiking. It's like his brain is trying to process 1,000 images a second. Jace suddenly gasped. His body went still. His eyes rolled back. And then, he whispered, barely audible, "The Suns are being murdered from the future." Silence fell across the room. Eryn stared at his pale face. "What did you say?" she asked. But Jace didn't respond. His pulse was steady, breathing normal, but he was unconscious, or something deeper, trapped. Eryn stood slowly. "Quarantine him," she said. "Keep him monitored." Rourke spoke quietly. "Captain, what does that even mean? Murdered from the future?" Eryn looked back at the device. It pulsed again, soft this time, almost like a heartbeat. "I don't know," she said, "but we need to get out of this gravity well." Voss checked the readings. "The core output is surging. It's reacting to the collapsing stars." "Can we use it?" Eryn asked. Voss nodded slowly. "Maybe. If we align its output with our jump drive, we might bend gravity just enough to break free." "Do it." They scrambled. Cables were connected. Systems were routed. The sphere was placed in a stabilizing harness near the main jump coil. Its pulsing grew louder, deeper, like thunder in slow motion. The ship groaned as the black hole formed behind them. Light twisted, time stretched. The view outside the window became a blur of bending stars and shadows. "Now," Eryn shouted. Rourke slammed the jump key. The sphere released a wave of energy, silent, powerful, impossible. The ship surged forward and vanished into the dark. Seconds later, they dropped back into normal space, clear of the binary system. Silence followed. No one spoke. Eryn stared at the screen. The ship had survived. The crew was safe. The black hole now burned quietly behind them, distant and cold. But something was wrong. Jace hadn't woken up, and the sphere had changed. Inside, the swirling stars had shifted. Now they looked like eyes, watching them, waiting. Eryn whispered to herself, "What are you?" But the sphere didn't answer. It only pulsed once more. And deep in her mind, she heard a voice. "You are running out of time." The stars were getting colder. Captain Eryn Kael stood at the viewing deck, staring at the dying light of System 9. Once, this place was a thriving colony, rich with energy from a nearby star. Now, all that remained was a white dwarf, cold, dim, and barely alive. Around it floated shattered remains of satellites and debris. Silent, forgotten. "Any signs of human activity?" Eryn asked. Lieutenant Mora shook her head. "No signals. No life. Just ruins." Then where did the last jump signal come from? That was the question. Before arriving, the ship had picked up a faint, encrypted beacon. It wasn't in any database. It had called them here, deliberately. Eryn turned to Science Officer Tall, a quiet man with sharp eyes. "You're with me. We're going to check out the largest structure." Tall nodded without hesitation. He always preferred ruins to people. The shuttle dropped them near an old orbital station circling the dwarf star. As they neared, the structure came into view, the black ring, jagged and ancient. It wasn't human. Its surface was etched with lines that pulsed faintly, almost like veins under skin. It seemed to breathe. "This wasn't built by any species we've cataloged," Tall said softly. They docked and stepped into darkness. Inside, everything felt wrong. The lights flickered as they walked through the corridor. Time didn't feel steady here. Eryn's footsteps echoed late, like sound was dragging behind them. Her wrist chrono glitched. Hours skipped forward, then backward. "I'm reading multiple timelines," Tall said, staring at his scanner. "Every room is locked in a different flow." They reached the main chamber, where old machines hung from the ceiling like bones. At the center stood a broken console and a cracked display screen. Dust floated in the air, unmoving. Tall tapped the console. "There's something here." A recording. The screen buzzed. Static. Then an image appeared. A girl. Older now. 20s. Pale eyes. Dark hair. a familiar look in her face. Eryn's breath caught in her throat. It was her daughter. Alive. She didn't speak at first. Her face was serious, strained. Then she looked straight into the camera and said, "Mom, if you're seeing this, it means the path repeated." Eryn staggered back. Tal turned to her, confused. The recording continued. "I've seen what the cargo becomes. It feeds on collapse, on death. Every dying star, it grows stronger. It's not saving anything. It's harvesting." The screen flickered. Behind the girl, something moved. A shadow, a pulse. I was part of it once. My DNA helped build the containment. But it changed me. I see time differently now. I escaped here, into this backward system, but it still follows. She looked down. Her hands trembled. "Don't deliver it. Don't take it to the core. That's where it becomes real. That's when everything ends." She looked up again, her voice a whisper. "You have to make a different choice." Then the screen went dark. Eryn stood frozen, her heart racing. "Was that real?" she asked. Tal stared at the recording device. "The timestamp is impossible. It's marked 20 years in the future." Eryn moved back through the corridor. Her legs felt weak. "My daughter, she was just a baby. They said the experiment failed. No records. Nothing." "She's alive," Tal said. "Some version of her." Eryn clenched her fists. "She said not to deliver it. But that's our mission. If we don't." "Maybe the mission is a lie," Tal said quietly. The corridor twisted suddenly. Lights flashed. Their bodies felt pulled in different directions, like reality was folding around them. "We have to go. Now," Eryn said. They ran. Back on the shuttle, the distortions stopped. Time felt normal again. But the weight on Eryn's chest didn't lift. As the shuttle connected with the main ship, alarms flared. Mora's voice cracked through the speaker. "Captain, something's happening with the device." Eryn sprinted down to the containment room. The crew stood around it, unsure, frightened. The sphere floated, spinning slowly. Its surface had changed. Part of it had opened like a flower. Inside, faint lights flickered, like neurons firing. And then, a voice came. Soft, familiar. "Mom." Eryn's eyes widened. It was her daughter's voice, exactly as she remembered, a toddler's voice. "Mom, I see you." Voss stared at the readings. "Captain, the core is projecting temporal echoes. Someone, or something, is reaching through time." Eryn stepped forward, trembling. "Why now?" The sphere pulsed, and the child's voice became clearer. "I'm cold. I'm scared." The lights dimmed around them. The air felt heavy, like grief. Rourke spoke in a whisper. "It's pulling memories, emotions. This thing, it's alive. And it remembers." Eryn fell to her knees. Was it her daughter in there? Or something wearing her voice? She didn't know. But she was starting to understand something terrifying. This mission wasn't just about saving systems. It was about feeding something. And now it wanted her to keep going. Eryn looked up at the crew. Her voice shook. "We're being used." Everyone was silent. The device pulsed again. The voice returned. But this time, it wasn't a child. It was her grown daughter's voice again. Firmer. Calm. "Please, don't deliver it." The sphere closed and went still. Eryn stood slowly, her eyes burning with emotion. She had followed orders her entire life. But this was different. Now she had to decide. Keep going, or turn back and defy the mission that started all of this. But she already knew the answer. She wasn't turning back. Not yet. She needed to know the truth, even if it broke her. The signal came without warning. A simple distress call. Short, desperate. "This is the Driftwalker. Engine failure. Life support failing. Need help. Orbiting star 71K. Captain Eryn Kael leaned closer to the screen. A red marker blinked near the star's corona. The star was flaring wildly, unstable and violent. "How close to critical?" she asked. "Very," said Tall, scanning fast. "Flares every 7 minutes, each stronger than the last. If we jump in, we have a 6-minute window to get out before the next burst." Eryn looked at the rest of her crew. Silence. Then she nodded. "Plot the jump. We don't ignore distress calls. Not now. Not ever." The jump took seconds. The moment they arrived in the orbit of star 71K, the entire bridge shook. Radiation alarms screamed. The star below boiled like a living thing, its outer layer writhing with molten fire. Ahead floated the driftwalker. Scared, broken, barely holding orbit. The hull looked like it had been melted and refrozen several times. "Life signs confirmed," Morris said. "But it's strange. I'm seeing duplicates. Same biosignature." Repeated. "Clones?" Eryn asked. "I don't know. But if we stay more than 6 minutes..." "I know. Prep the shuttle. Tall, with me." The shuttle docked rough and fast. Eryn didn't wait. She pushed through the outer airlock and stepped into a corridor of smoke and flickering lights. Then she froze. A man stood at the far end. He was bleeding, limping. "You got the signal," he said, voice thin. "You shouldn't have come." "Where's your crew?" Tall asked, stepping in behind Eryn. The man gave a hollow laugh. "They're all me." "What?" He didn't answer. He collapsed. Suddenly, from the shadows, another man appeared. Same face, same clothes, same wounds. Then a third crawled from a vent. Then a fourth. Then a fifth, slumped against the wall, unmoving. Tall's voice cracked. "What is this?" Eryn stepped back. "Everyone stay calm." The second version of the man approached slowly. "We're not clones," he said. "We're replays, copies made by the flare. Every time the sun bursts, time breaks. We die. We reset." One of the others twitched on the floor, gasping. "Don't trust him. He lies." "He always says that," said the second. Erin's head spun. She checked the timer. 4 minutes. "We have to go," she said. "Tall, help me bring one of them. We can't bring them all." Tall hesitated. "Which one do we trust?" Eryn turned to the first man, the one who sent the signal. He looked up at her, eyes full of something deeper than fear. "I remember sending the message," he whispered. "It hurts every time. But you made it. That's what matters." They helped him up and pulled him back toward the shuttle. Then one of the other versions lunged at them. "No, he's not real. He's the loop." A scuffle broke out. Tall kicked the attacker back and slammed the airlock shut. They launched fast. As the shuttle disconnected, the star flared. A wave of white fire exploded from its surface, swallowing the driftwalker. Eryn shielded her eyes as their ship jerked from the shockwave. Seconds later, the fire passed. Only silence remained. Back on the main ship, the survivor lay in the medbay, breathing slowly. Eryn sat beside him. "What happened back there?" she asked. The man looked at her. "You're being tested." "Tested by who?" "By it. By the path. By the thing you carry." "You mean the device." He smiled. "It watches. It listens. It wants to know what you'll do." "Why us?" "Because you made it this far." "Made it through what?" He closed his eyes. "You'll see." Then his body began to glow. His skin split into tiny shards of light. Within seconds, he vanished completely, like he had never existed at all. Tall watched from the door, stunned. "What the hell was he?" she whispered. Eryn didn't answer, because deep inside, she already knew. Whatever they were carrying in the cargo bay, it wasn't just a weapon. It was alive. The last star was different. As the Solace drifted into orbit, the crew stood in silence. The star in front of them burned gold, Not red or white like the others. It pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. Every few seconds, waves of light reached out and touched their hull gently, like it knew they were watching. Mora stared at the scans. This star, it's alive. Not metaphorically. It has neural patterns in its corona. It's thinking. Eryn stood still. Her heart pounded as she whispered, "It's waiting." Then, the pulse changed. One strong wave struck the solace, and lights on the ship flickered, but not randomly. They formed a rhythm, a language. Mora, Tal, those who were still left after the split, worked fast. The computer couldn't translate it fast enough, but Eryn didn't need the computer. The pattern was simple, slow, intentional, like it wanted to be understood. The message came clearly into her mind. You carry the device, the thief of suns. It feeds on collapse. It was made to delay your extinction, not to stop it. Eryn's breath caught. Who made it? She asked aloud. The lights pulsed again. You did. Not you as you are, but you in a future long lost. Tal looked up from the console. It means humans built the device in the future, after the stars began to die. Eryn stared at the dark sphere sitting in its containment field. It hadn't pulsed since the last jump. It just sat there, heavy, waiting. Why? She asked. The star answered through another pulse. Your kind chose survival at any cost. You began to feed on collapse. A dead star gives energy for a century. A dying one gives more. Life extended, but all was stolen. Your future self gave birth to extinction. Mora backed away from the device. We've been carrying a weapon, not just a machine. A machine that chooses which stars die. Eryn's voice cracked. We never knew. The star pulsed gently now. I offer you something different. Give me the device. I will end its journey. In return, I will show you the fate of your daughter. Eryn felt cold. She didn't speak. Her throat was tight. Tal's voice broke the silence. Captain, if that star's telling the truth, maybe ending the device here is the right thing. But what if it's lying? Moore asked. We were told to deliver it to the High Council. Earth's future depends on it. Maybe the Council can control it. Or maybe they'll keep using it, Tal said, and keep killing stars. The bridge filled with silence again. The crew looked at Eryn. The weight of command, of choice, hung heavy. She looked at the star again. Show me, she whispered. The lights dimmed across the bridge. For a moment, everything was quiet. Then her mind filled with images. Her daughter, older, maybe 20, standing on a ruined earth. Cities crumbled, skies black with ash. She was wearing a technician's coat, the same color Eryn once wore. She was alive, but barely. The vision zoomed in. Eryn could feel her daughter's thoughts. Her anger, her pain, her memory. Mother left, her daughter said softly in the vision. She gave me up for the experiment. She chose duty over me, but I forgive her. Tears rolled down Eryn's cheeks. She whispered, I never meant to hurt you. The vision faded. The star pulsed again. Now choose. Give me the device, or finish what you were ordered to do. The crew waited. The ship hummed quietly. Eryn stepped forward. Her fingers hovered above the containment field. I won't let this thing hurt another star, she said. We end it here. She pressed the release. The containment shield dropped. The sphere pulsed once, then floated. Mora stepped back. Why is it moving? The sphere rose into the air, spinning slowly. A faint glow appeared on its surface. Tal moved to protect Eryn, but it was too late. The sphere surged forward, straight into her chest. There was no impact. It phased through her uniform like it was smoke and entered her body. Eryn gasped. Her eyes flashed white. She collapsed to her knees, screaming, hands clutching her head. Tal shouted, Shut it down. Containment field, Now, the sphere was gone. No trace of it on the ship. Only Eryn, on the floor, shaking, twitching, light flickering under her skin. Then she stopped moving. Silence. They stared in horror. Erin's eyes opened slowly. But they weren't her eyes anymore. They glowed. She stood slowly. "I offered the device," she said, voice deeper, layered. But it chose a new host. Tall raised his weapon. "What are you now?" Eryn looked at her hands. "I am what it needs to survive. And it needs me. As I needed my daughter. As you needed stars. We're all the same, really. Feeding from what we fear to lose." Mora whispered, "She's still in there." "I know it." The star pulsed again, but dimmer now. "You've made your choice." The system began to darken. The golden sun flickered like a candle in wind. Eryn looked at it calmly. "You would have taken the device and destroyed it. But now it has something better. Me." Tall stepped forward, his voice full of anger. "We trusted you." She smiled sadly. "I didn't trust myself." Then the ship jolted. Lights dimmed. The engines roared on their own. Navigation locked. Mora shouted, "It's overriding our control." Eryn walked to the helm. "Set course for Earth," she said. "We have a mission to complete." No one moved. She turned her glowing eyes to them. "It's too late to turn back." And somewhere deep in space, behind the ship, the last living star began to die. The stars around them were dying. Some had already gone cold. Others flickered weakly like candles in a storm. But Captain Eryn Kael wasn't human anymore. Not completely. She stood on the bridge of the Solace, her eyes glowing with soft white light, her voice layered like an echo across space. The crew watched her from behind control panels and shadows, unsure if she was still the woman they once trusted. The ship drifted near the ruins of a forgotten station, its metal bones broken, floating in silence. All around them, collapsed systems stretched for light years. "I feel them," Eryn said softly, gazing through the viewport. "The stars. They're not dead. Not all of them. Some are, waiting." Tall, still trying to keep control of navigation, leaned in. "Waiting for what?" "For someone to listen," she said. Mora stepped forward, voice trembling. "Are you still? You?" Eryn turned. Her face was calm. Her features hadn't changed. But something behind her eyes glowed with something far older than any human. "I remember everything," she said. "But I am more now. The device didn't consume me. It awakened something already inside, something left behind by those who made it." "The ones from the future?" Tall asked. She nodded. "They called themselves the Echo Architects, Earth's final generation. They built the device to do more than delay extinction. They wanted to erase their mistake." Mora frowned. "What mistake?" Eryn raised her hand, and a hologram formed mid-air. It showed Earth's systems in the past, massive solar harvesters draining stars across the Helios expanse. Systems collapsed one after another. The truth was plain. "We did this," Eryn said. "Earth created the collapse. The Council knew. The device was their guilt, wrapped in hope, a chance to rewrite the story." Tall stepped back. "So the mission wasn't to save the galaxy. It was to hide the truth." Eryn nodded. "The Council hoped the device would rewrite stellar decay, undo what was done. But that kind of power can't erase sin. It can only shift the cost." "And you?" Mora asked. "What are you now?" Eryn closed her eyes. Her voice grew softer. "A bridge. Between life and collapse. Between minds and stars. I can speak to them now. And they're asking me to choose." The crew fell silent. Outside, one of the nearby stars blinked rapidly. Then another. They weren't dying. They were talking, responding to her. Tall whispered, "What do they want?" Eryn's eyes opened again. "They want to live." She stepped toward the main console. The device had vanished from the containment chamber, but its power was now within her. She raised her hand, and pulses of light moved through the ship's systems. A sound filled the air, low and musical, like the voice of a choir trapped in a storm. "I can give them a piece of myself," she said. "Enough to restart fusion. But it will burn away what's left of my human form." Tal moved forward quickly. "Wait, Eryn. Think. If you do this, there's no coming back." "I've already passed that point," she said gently. "You all saw it. I'm not just Eryn Kael anymore." Mora whispered, "But you're still someone." Eryn smiled. "I was a mother who gave up her child. A soldier who followed orders. A captain who carried death across the stars. Now, maybe, I can be something else. Something that brings light." She touched the console. The solace trembled. Outside, light erupted from her fingers, spreading through the ship's array, leaping into space like threads of fire. Across the expanse, dying stars began to blink. Faint, then brighter. The light from Eryn moved through systems like a chain reaction. One by one, stars flickered back to life. First red, then gold, then brilliant white. Mora stared through the viewport. "It's working. She's reigniting them." Tal watched Eryn as her body began to fade, piece by piece. First her arms, then her torso. But she didn't scream. Her face was peaceful. The glow spread until only her eyes remained, two bright stars floating in air. Her voice echoed one last time. "Tell her I never stopped loving her." And then she was gone. The light faded. Silence filled the bridge. Mora broke it. "She's gone." "No," Tal said, his voice trembling. "She's out there. With them." The systems across the Solace returned to normal. Navigation stabilized. The stars around them burned steady again. They set a course away from the flare zones, past the dead systems that now sparked with newborn fire. The galaxy was beginning to breathe again. As they moved, the comms cracked with static. Mora turned to the console. "There's something coming through." The message was simple, carved in pulses of light across every active system in the Helios expanse. Eryn Kael has become the first starborn. The crew sat in silence. Then another line appeared. "The second is already among you." Tal looked at Mora. Mora looked at the others. They all felt it. Something had begun, and it wasn't finished.